Good day, happy Wednesday, and welcome to your NEWSMAX Daily for August 14th, 2024, 8/14/24 digitally, or if you are taking notes, as millions of kids and parents will be doing as school reopens in many areas of the country. Opened yesterday here in my area of Florida. Experts are warning of potential back-to-school scams now, mainly in the form of email, so watch out for that if you have a kid in school. And also watch out on the roads. Be very careful. The good news is today is National Creamsicle Day, and as hot as it is in many places around the country, I'm sure a creamsicle or ice pop sounds really good. We are now 82 days away from Election Day. And in the headlines today, outside of the presidential race, Minnesota progressive Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar won her primary challenge yesterday from former Minneapolis City Council member Don Samuels to be on the ballot come November, one of the original squad members, Omar. Former President Donald Trump speaking at a campaign event in beautiful Asheville, North Carolina this afternoon. The Harris campaign announcing that she will visit Raleigh, North Carolina on Friday. The president is speaking, among other things, on the economy. Now the Harris campaign says she will speak on the economy. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance is in Michigan today. Democratic vice presidential nominee, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, speaking to a union group in California yesterday, had this to say about the big Elon Musk, Donald Trump conversation on X.
The only thing those two guys knows about working people is how to work to take advantage of them. That's what they know about it.
That's because the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union, filed labor charges against Trump and Musk, who is the CEO and founder, by the way, of a car company, for threatening to intimidate union workers because of this comment.
I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone.
Former Georgia Congressman and attorney Doug Colins addressed it on Newsmax.
How do you read these charges filed not even 12 hours later after this sit-down?
I read it as what it is, political propaganda, and that's all it is. Look, the President Trump's been very vocal about the UAW president, and in particular, and the job that he felt like that they've done in basically tearing up the auto industry here in America. So, look, this has been going on for a while. There's no specifics here. There's no claim of an individual tampering. This is simply, I view it as political propaganda because the UAW has already endorsed the Harris ticket. And this is, again, I would look at this more from, are they going to actually file this as a contribution to the Harris presidential campaign? Because it looks more like a campaign contribution than it does an actual lawsuit.
Former Georgia Representative and attorney Doug Colins on National Report. The UAW and its president, Shawn Fain, had endorsed Joe Biden. Now they've endorsed Harris. And Fain, as you may know, has made it clear that he does not like Donald Trump. So another bogus lawsuit. Bianca De La Garza spoke about it with RNC Co-chair Lara Trump.
It's great to have you. So I just want to get your reaction. Obviously, before this, there were those who were outraged that he was going to talk to Elon Musk and maybe, I don't know, get to some substantive issues and talk about things that matter to Americans. And now, post-conversation, the UAW is filing a lawsuit trying to say that they were intimidating and threatening workers. Your reaction to this? It broke today, but you knew they would be listening second by second to this conversation and try to find something.
Yeah, well, of course, they're trying to find something to attack Donald Trump on after nearly a 2-hour conversation with Elon Musk where transparency was the name of the game. And it couldn't be in starker contrast, of course, Bianca, to what you see on the other side, which is Kamala Harris, who we really have not heard from in any sort of a press conference. Donald Trump did one of those, by the way, last week. We don't know what her policies are, except for, of course, the one policy she's talked about. She ripped off from Donald Trump, of course, no tax on tips, something he's been talking about for months. She suddenly came out with. But yes, of course, they're looking for anything to attack Donald Trump on because there's really nothing on the other side that they can tout right now. What are they going to talk about? The 3.5 years that we've seen Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in office, the direction this country is headed in, the fact that people have less money in their pocket, they're having a harder time making ends meet. We are destabilized on the world stage right now thanks to these two individuals. Kamala Harris is trying to tell people you should want 4 more years of this. Put me in charge. Yeah, I don't think anyone is surprised to see this, but of course it's all nonsense. And I actually think it was a great conversation and a great opportunity for the American people to actually hear from one of the two candidates running for president.
Certainly, plenty of ideas were exchanged. These aren't career politicians. Elon Musk, has built things in his life. Your father-in-law has built things, done things. There's sort of a vision that they were laying out. And as you said, they're just stealing things like no tax on tips. Yeah. The Harris-Walz statement, pretty incredible. They're putting up, we'll put this up here. They were so angry. They tried to fundraise off of this. They're so upset that he purchased a platform, Musk, and its unhinged, hateful agenda. I don't think the millions of people listening last night felt that way. So again, it's a really sharp contrast. And the media, I think, is part of this as well, to also criticize the fact that your father-in-law would go on. He's happy to answer questions if they would just ask him, maybe in the fashion that's so less biased. If they just took a playbook out of Elon Trump's questioning, Laura, I'm sure he'd be willing to do any interviews unlike Kamala does.
Well, we know that Donald Trump is the pillar of transparency. I mean, think back, Bianca, to when he actually was president. Remember, every time he would walk out to Marine One, he would stop in front of the press. They were yelling questions at him constantly. During COVID, gosh, he did almost every single day a press conference in front of that press corps who was, of course, ready to attack him at every possible moment. He doesn't shy away from questions or conversation. He went on CNN for the first debate against Joe Biden, and he did such an incredible job on there that Joe Biden had to drop out of the race. So he is not afraid to talk. And I think it's really incredible to hear how upset they are from the Harris-Walz campaign. Yeah. Elon Musk has a platform where he wants everybody to have an opportunity to have their First Amendment freedom of speech. Isn't that a revelation from a guy who wasn't even born in America? He himself, Elon Musk, knows how important that is. We need more conversations. We need to hear more from these candidates, not less. Kudos to Donald Trump and Elon Musk for their conversation last night. I hope we hear the same from Kamala Harris and the other side of the aisle.
Lara Trump on Newsline with Bianca De La Garza. Yesterday, I called Trump and Musk's 2-hour conversation on X or Twitter Spaces an unprecedented event for any political figure, former or future president or candidate, right? This is Bob Brooks on Newsmax's American Agenda.
Okay, joining us now to discuss is editor of Racket News, Matt Taibbi, and CPAC chairman Matt Schlapp. Gentlemen, good to see you today.
Great to be with you.
Matt Schlapp, I'm going to start with you. If I would have just said Matt, you wouldn't have known which Matt
it would have been
I was
confusing.
talking to. A little bit confusing.
Well
Matt,
done.
Matt Schlapp, your thoughts on, 1 month ago, this assassination attempt. We're lucky President Trump is still here. He thanks God. But also, why do I feel like we've entered a new era in vetting politicians? Think about this. 1 billion views in one night on X. Yeah. Has a revolution been started in how we go about this, Matt? What do you think?
I don't know what to think. First of all, let me say to Matt Taibbi, I'm a huge fan. Great to be on Newsmax with you. You started with the wrong Matt because he's smarter. He'll give a better answer. But I just say this. There's been so much change in politics over the last several years that I will admit to you that you can kind of feel like you lose your breath over trying to give it some analytical flavor. But let me just say this. The one thing about Donald Trump that I think is enduringly genuine to people is that he isn't hiding somewhere. He is all out. He says things probably he shouldn't say at times. He maybe goes on too much, more than his advisors would like at times. But he just is a a heart on the sleeve guy. And I think that came out last night. The other thing that came out is we all know Elon Musk is a genius and an amazing entrepreneur. But Donald Trump is an incredibly smart person. And when I've had these wonderful moments to talk with him about all kinds of topics, he's one of the most well-read people you'll ever interact with. When Mercy worked for him at those years during the White House and the campaign, she was a comms leader, but she feared going into the Oval Office because he already read like 7 papers and had already taken like 11 phone calls from people that knew what was going on. And he really has his finger on the pulse. I think that came across very clearly.
Excellent point there, Matt. And Matt Taibbi, I also want to second what Matt Schlapp said. We're very happy to have you on Newsmax on American Agenda. We really wanted to have you for a while. So I want to dive right in. Of course, you were largely the name associated with the Twitter files and, of course, censorship over information, disinformation, that whole topic of things. With this new dawn, as Bob pointed out, in campaigning, in reaching people, do you feel that a lot of what you fought for has actually come to fruition, or do you still think there's a lot of work to be done with fake news, disinformation, and censorship when it comes to media?
First of all, thank you for having me on, and thank you, Mr. Schlapp, for those kind words. I'm sure I'm not the smartest Matt on the panel. That's definitely not true. But in terms of the work to do, I mean, I think we're in unprecedented waters in terms of digital control of information. And last night, frankly, was a historic moment in the history, in the annals of efforts to suppress information. We don't know exactly what happened at 8 p.m. Eastern, but before that, the European Commissioner, Thierry Breton, sent a letter to Elon Musk. Essentially, it was sort of like an injunctive warning not to fall afoul of Europe's Digital Services Act, which has really never happened before. This is sort of Europe warning an American internet platform ahead of time, ahead of a news event, that it might suffer some severe consequences for interviewing a presidential candidate. We know from the Twitter files that there is a serious movement afoot in what they call the anti-disinformation community to try to move America in the direction away from the First Amendment model and more towards the European model of hate speech laws and other strict government control of speech. And so this is, I think we're in a very dangerous moment. And last night was, to me, very worrying, irrespective of the interview.
That's independent journalist Matt Taibbi, who, as Katrina Zish mentioned, is the reporter that brought us the Twitter files, exposing, among other things, the censorship of conservatives, and Conservative Political Action Committee Chairman Matt Schlapp in there as well. Carl Higbie has more on the EU, the European Union, and other attempts to censor Musk's sit-down with the former president.
Trump effectively bypassed the mainstream media that they have historically controlled how and what the audience hears about Trump's policy. Last night, they lost control. The mainstream media spent hours of airtime today and tons of articles trying to discredit it, and even the EU and the UK yesterday threatened legal action if Musk did not censor on his own platform. This is a letter from the EU to Elon Musk saying, quote, that all proportionate and effective mitigation measures are put in place regarding the amplification of harmful content in connection with relevant events, including live streaming, which, if unaddressed, might increase the risk profile of X and generate detrimental effects of civic discourse and public security. What? Elon Musk responded with a hilarious meme, basically giving him the finger. We talked about this yesterday, folks. How the media is driving a narrative that they want America to hear. They cannot have you hearing the truth about Donald Trump, and more importantly, the political evolution of Elon Musk.
So it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I call myself, historically a moderate Democrat. And so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Folks, this is what they're trying to hide. Democrats cannot have you seeing any legitimate transition away from their party and their policies. They cannot have you hear an honest conversation about real issues in a relaxed, informal interview. That is why an entire continent tried to block this interview under the threat of legal action. You see what's happening here? Thank God for Elon Musk. In the history of ever, folks, when have the ones withholding information ever been the good guys? Seriously, when have the ones blocking speech ever been the good? Never. They've never been the good guys. And that was why Elon also gave an open invite to Kamala Harris for an interview, but she's not going to do it. She doesn't even want to do an interview with a friendly news network, let alone Elon Musk. Because this is the difference between the two candidates. Trump sat down for 2 hours with no script with the smartest man in the world. They didn't agree on everything, but they had a conversation and a free exchange of ideas where the merits of the issues reigned supreme, not who could yell louder or who could slander the other more. And also, you notice how, and this is my best part, Elon just called him Donald, too. Not Mr. President, not Mr. Trump. No one was superior on that call, and it humanized Trump to such a degree I've never seen before. And the left can't have that.
Carl Higbie is the host of Frontline. That's 5 o'clock Eastern on Newsmax. Check it out. The Trump-Musk conversation, as Carl mentioned, now has more than 2 billion impressions. And Musk did make the same offer to Vice President Harris, who as of now has not accepted the offer, like all the other offers that she's had. Even CNN called her out yesterday. CNN asking a campaign spokesperson for an interview and was told that she, Kamala, is preparing to go to North Carolina on Friday. The CNN anchor said, well, we're asking for an interview today, not Friday. This is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds on Rob Schmitt Tonight.
Says she no longer supports a single-payer health care system. So how many flip-flops can we get from this politician that has no spine and really no thought? Florida Congressman Byron Donalds joins us now. And, sir, good to have you on. And another big flip-flop here away from what I think are her true Marxist ideals.
Absolutely. That's exactly what she's trying to do. She can't run on the Bernie Sanders agenda. It's not popular. She cannot run on the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris agenda. It's not popular. And so what is she running on? We really don't know. And this is the fundamental reason why she has not made herself available to the press, why she's not doing town hall meetings directly with voters, why you will not find her on X with Elon Musk or anybody else. She won't go to favorable places like the Breakfast Club or places like that because they would ask her questions about her policy ideas. The truth of the matter is she doesn't have any. That's why she steals Donald Trump's idea about no taxes on tips. She wants to be Cleopatra. She wants to act as if she is starring in the role to be president, but to be the commander in chief, to be the leader of our country, there have to be policy ideas to move the American people forward. She does not have any. This is why she's not talking about them. But specifically to Medicare for all, which she did support in the U.S. Senate, which she did run on when she ran for president the last time, that will cost us $44 trillion with a T dollars. It would move 150 million Americans off of their private health insurance. And so this is too big of an issue for it to just come out as a campaign memo from staff. Kamala Harris needs to do the hard work that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are doing. And that is sitting down with the press, explaining her views. And if she wants to do podcasts and things like that, I highly recommend that she does that as well.
Yeah. You know, taxes are going to be a big issue in this race as well, because now, as you alluded to, Kamala is now claiming she wants to, not tax tips and acting. I mean, these people want to spend more money than God, but they want to act like they also want to cut taxes because, again, they'll say anything just to get elected, and then we'll figure out what they're really going to do. Democrats never cut taxes. They never lower taxes.
Rob Schmitt with Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, and I'm going to fast forward to the end just so you can hear the wrap-up of what Byron Donalds had to say.
Kamala Harris, we don't know what she wants to do. Why? Because she will not tell the American people what she wants to do. She is hiding. But the New York Times, their famous slogan is democracy dies in darkness.
The Post.
Well, let's be very clear. When you have a presidential candidate like Kamala Harris, who is in the dark, who will not tell you what she wants to do, and you have a media that covers for her, that is the very death of democracy.
Florida Congressman Byron Donalds on Rob Schmitt Tonight. On Wall Street, stocks opened relatively flat today after the Dow gained more than 400 points yesterday. The CPI report this morning showing prices for goods and services increasing 0.2% for the month of July. That was basically in line with expectations, one of the anticipated inflation reports. That puts the 12-month inflation rate at 2.9%. The other big business headline today, the Wall Street Journal says Mars Candy Company, the maker of M&Ms and Snickers, is buying Kellanova. That is the snack food spinoff of Kellogg's for $30 billion, or at least that's what they're offering. K shares are up big today, about $4 a share if you happen to own that. Don't forget, Trump is in North Carolina today, J.D. Vance in Michigan, President Biden getting back to the White House late last night from New Orleans, so he has nothing going on today, of course, except he does have a phone call with the president of Panama. There is a White House press briefing this afternoon, so we can look forward to some good stuff from that, especially with the Hunter Biden investigation heating up a bit as Hunter prepares for his upcoming tax trial as well. So aside from what we may hear in the White House press briefing, we could hear from the Jims today as well, Jim Jordan or Jim Comer on Hunter today. Be sure to keep up with all of the news right here on Newsmax, Newsmax.com, and on Newsmax Plus for the most complete lineup of all your favorite shows and guests like Rob Schmitt Tonight, Greg Kelly Reports, Frontline with Carl Higbie, Greta Van Susteren, Wake Up America, and more. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for checking out the Newsmax Daily podcast. Please subscribe on whatever platform you may be listening to, and please share it with your friends and family. Enjoy the rest of your day, and keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
It's our America. We conquered it. We built it. Great values like honesty and fairness. Great courage. A great nation needs a free press. Newsmax is it. 30 million Americans regularly go to Newsmax when they really need to know. They watch Newsmax TV at home. On the free Newsmax app, they go to Newsmax.com. Start today. Newsmax is real news for real people.